Hello and welcome to Whining About Books, where I review a good book with a stiff drink in my hand. My name is Paige Love, and I am a lover of literature, a purveyor of prose, an evaluator of exposition, and a connoisseur of composition. And to sum all of that up, I am someone who really, truly enjoys reading books. Now, tonight is not a long form book review, but it is my crib review, quick reviews of the in between. And that is where I do shorter reviews of multiple books. These are the books that I read for April of 2025. Let's not waste any more time. Grab your drink because I know you have it, and let's whine about books.
Welcome to Whining About Books, where I review a good book with a stiff drink in my hand.
Now, before we get started, you know I have to introduce the drink. Tonight's drink is a lemon drop. That is where I take lemon juice, Cointreau, or triple sec, which is what I used, Grey Goose vodka, and simple syrup. Put that all in there, and it should be a light, refreshing cocktail. I've had one before, but for the sake of the video, let's take a sip and see how it fares. Smells like lemonade, but a very dangerous lemonade. Usually I make lemon drops with no triple sec or no Cointreau. It's just like a very simple lemonade or lemon juice and vodka, simple syrup. But this one with the triple sec is very good. Perfect for a nice warm day, which is what today was. Nice and light, nice and refreshing. If you haven't tried one, get you one because it's good. Now let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the quick reviews of the in between. Okay, before we get started, I just wanted to apologize that this video is a little bit late. Earlier this week, I was battling two migraines back to back, and it was just a lot. And once I recovered, I decided to catch up on some other things around the house. So I apologize, but we're finally here. For the month of April, I read 5 books in total, with one of those books being my long form review, Penitence by Kristen Koval. If you have not watched it, it will be linked in the description box below. It was really good. If you have not read it, get it. It's so good. Beyond that, though, the first book I read after that was Gulliver's Travels, and that was a part of my The Book is Better segment. And if you watched that, you saw that I gave the book Gulliver's Travels a 5 out of 10. And let's get into why that has changed for me, actually. So, Gulliver's Travels follows Lemuel Gulliver. He is a surgeon on like exploration ships or expedition ships. He is a native of England. Jonathan Swift, a lot of his writing has to do with like politics and war and government. And although they were written, they're put in the category of like children's books or children's book. But I'm gonna be honest, as an adult, this was like the way he makes you think about war and politics and science and things like that is, I mean, they were very adult topics when you really got into the nitty gritty of things. So this book is broken up into 4 parts, each part being like him traveling to a different place. And everyone knows, or most people know, the first story, which is where Gulliver travels to Lilliput, where everyone's about 6 inches tall. And what got me about this one is you really do see Jonathan Swift's like ideas on war and politics in this one, and all of them, but in this one in particular, it really got to me because so you have Lilliput, right, and then you have Blefuscu, however you say it. I'm not sure. He has a lot of names in here that just like I'm not sure how you pronounce them, but so those are the 2 kingdoms, and he really made you look at the folly of war, like the downside of war. I mean, there's a lot of downsides, but he really made you look at war, and it became this trivial thing because Lilliput and Blefuscu, 2 warring empires, they were about to go to war over how you crack an egg. Do you crack it from the smaller side at the top, or do you crack it from the bigger side at the bottom? I mean, it was written into law and everything. And excuse me. And it really made you go, "Oh man, what a dumb what a dumb thing to go to war over." sometimes the reasons are that silly, are that just like, what are we doing right now? This is what we're blowing up people for. And even though this was written in like the 1700s, I mean, this still stands today. It's good. Kind of makes you click your tongue. So those first two stories were like, for me, what made me rate this story as a 5 out of 10. So in the third book, and this is where my mind started to change around the book Gulliver's Travels. So in the third part, in part 3, he Gulliver travels to a place called Glubdubdrib. I hope I'm saying that right. But here it is a land of like sorcerers and magicians, and the king, or the head honcho of this land, takes Gulliver under his wing, and they get to know him and things like that. But this guy can call up anyone from history who has ever died, and Gulliver, being the man that he is, very introspective, and so he holds people like Plato and Aristotle and Socrates and Alexander the Great and people like that in very high esteem. These men and empires that have been able to overcome and conquer so much. I mean, so that's who he asks this sorcerer to conjure up. And this is where Jonathan Swift, I mean, goes in my opinion. As these people of history are telling their stories, and Gulliver is asking them, these hard-hitting questions. um Gulliver starts to come to this realization about people in history and civilization. Let me read to you just a snippet of what he said, or the conclusion that he came to. Here we go. A great number of persons concerned were called up, and upon a very slight examination discovered such a scene of infamy that I cannot reflect upon it without some seriousness. Perjury, oppression, subornation, fraud, panderism, and the like infirmities were amongst the most excusable arts they had to mention, and for these I gave, as it was reasonable, due allowance. But when some confessed they owed their greatness and wealth to sodomy or incest, others to the prostituting of their own wives and daughters, others to the betraying their country or their prince, some to poisoning, more to the perverting of justice in order to destroy the innocent. I hope I may be pardoned if these discoveries incline me a little to abate of that profound veneration which I am naturally apt to pay to persons of high rank, who ought to be treated with the utmost respect due to their sublime dignity by us their inferiors. I love the way he put all of that, because it's like sometimes you're given this like these rose-colored glasses about history, like, oh, they conquered so much and they accomplished so much and they did this and they did that. But here Jonathan Swift kind of lays it out of like how this happened: perjury, oppression, incest, prostituting your wives and your daughters out to 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 make deals with other kingdoms so that you can become richer and more powerful. I mean it, and that's just a little snippet. I mean, he goes in. It was I was surprised to find corruption had grown so high and so quick by the force of luxury so lately introduced. And that there he's talking about Rome, the Roman Empire, and it just kind of makes you go, oh shoot, yeah. We hold these sometimes we hold these major empires to such infamy and to such um we put them on such a pedestal that you forget almost forget that what they had to do to get there was some of the worst things that you can think of, and sometimes you wouldn't even think of them. And when you hear about the atrocities done to some kingdoms, some people, some innocents, you're just kind of blown away by what some kingdoms, empires are willing to do in order to gain power. at the end of the day, Gulliver um, just could not stand his station in life as a human in general, and the way empires and powers and things like that worked. Like it all disgusted him. I think kids, middle school, or even like freshman year of high school, probably should read this book. It really makes you look at yourself. It makes you look at your government. It makes you look at your country in a different light. The political writings, the philosophy, the humanity that Jonathan Swift makes you question, makes you think deeply on. It raised this book from a 5 out of 10 for me to like an 8.5. So if you have not read Gulliver's Travels, read it. The second book I read this month was a nonfiction book, and I very, very rarely read nonfiction, but I wanted to kind of start dipping my toe into nonfiction, and Marathon by Richard A. Billows has changed my mind on nonfiction. The way this man wrote this book is really good. It it, it made me love nonfiction to a point where after I finish this, I promised myself that I will read one nonfiction book per month. So anyway, the Battle of Marathon um, has to do with the Athenians fighting the Persians. And what Billows does is he takes us through the Athenian Empire at the time, through the Greek Empire, through the Greeks as a whole, through the Spartans, a little bit of the Thebans and things like that, Corinth and whatnot, and then through the history of the Persian Empire and things of that nature. And at the end of it all, he takes us to the Battle of Marathon. Now, the Battle of Marathon is where we get our term for marathon today. And, the 26 point, however many miles you run and things like that. Uh, but his whole basis for this story is to basically cement for us that the Battle of Marathon was helped to seal the fate the of democracy. So by the time the Battle of Marathon came around, democracy had only been around for 15 years, just about 15 years or so. And if the Persians had beat the Athenians, then democracy as we know it today probably would not have been a thing, because the Persians defeating the Athenians, who started democracy, would have captured, the slaves or whoever, take them back to, or they would have captured the Athenian peoples, taken them back to King Darius at the time, or Darius. I'm not sure how you say his name. And he would have shipped them off to a different part of the Persian Empire, and that would have been the end of democracy, um, as we know it then and as we know it today. And he goes into, like I said, the Persian Empire from like, I don't know, I want to say like 800, 890 or something BC, all the way up till the Battle of Marathon and beyond. He goes through the Spartan Empire um, excuse me, about 800, 900, and up to the Battle of Marathon. Same with the Athenians, same with the surrounding places, Corinth, Thebes, Lesbos. And then he talks about as well who started democracy. He basically says that this man, Cleisthenes. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering those names. I probably should have looked it up before I started this so I can get them right, but here we are. He is the one who first kind of implemented the rules on democracy, the basis of it, the start of it. It was really a like a people run, a citizen run government in the truest sense. The way, the way he came up with how to do this, it was revolutionary. It was unheard of. Yet the Athenians took a chance. They were tired of the way things were being ran. They were tired of tyrants. They were tired of being under the thumb of just a handful of rich citizens who called the shots, and they were tired of the farmers and the blacksmiths and the people who actually really get the city of Athens moving and going, being left out. To think where we as a nation would be without um, the contribution of Cleisthenes is, I don't even want to know. I love living in a country where I have a voice, I have a choice, and I have rights, and you can't easily tread on that without um, coming up against some sort of uh, some sort of outrage. You your voice isn't being heard here in this country. You can make it known, and that is something that Cleisthenes put into motion. Man, my mind is blown. This is so good. Now, if you are not into nonfiction, I don't know that this is the book that you should start with. This is a very specific, like big for big for us in a country of democracy, but small in the sense of like it's focusing literally on one battle and the things that stemmed from that battle, the things that started before that battle and the things that stemmed from the battle after it was won. And if you're looking for like to dip your toe into historical nonfiction, maybe you want to read about something bigger, or maybe you do want to start small like this. And if you do want to start small, start with, a very small pinpoint instead of reading about, like, oh, let me read about the whole Greek Empire. If you want to start small and start with one small thing that might um, draw your interest into something bigger, then yes, start here. Start with something like the Battle of Marathon. Man, it was good, and it really kind of makes you look at it. Made me look at my own government, look at how what these folks put into place um in four let's see, the battle was 490, I believe. So what they put into place in 505 uh 95, or however you count count years then, um has affected me today, because if it had not been for these people, I don't know that I would be living in a country where I have a lot of say in the things, in the way I would like our government to be run. And it's really nice to have, some sort of power in such a big government. Now, the fourth book I read, Exile by R.A. Salvatore. Now, you've heard me say it once, I will say it again and again and again. R.A. Salvatore is by far my favorite fantasy writer. This is book two. Also, our main character, Drizzt, he gets exiled from his homeland in Menzoberranzan. He is a drow, a dark elf, a part of the evil, chaotic people who serve the evil goddess Lolth. She is honestly insane. I don't know why anyone would want to dedicate their lives to her, but that's what she is. Anyway, Drizzt was born different than his drow brother and sisters. Um, he has a conscience. He feels the way that his people do things are backwards. He feels that the goddess that they serve is twisted, which she is. And he is not happy in Menzo Berenzan. He rebels to the 10th degree, to the point where he leaves, he gets exiled. And here in this book, he is living in the Underdark, which is a place you don't want to be. It is where all the it's exactly what it sounds like. It is underground. It is dark there. You have all types of creatures that are trying to kill you. You have some of the a lot of the kind of bad races down living down there. So you have drow, you have Durgar, which are gray dwarves. You have orcs and Kuatoas and all types of nonsense down there, and it's just chaos. But anyway, he's living in the Underdark. He has been there during this book for 10 years, and what I love about this story is he is a cast out, and he does not know what friendship is or even what it means. The one friend that he had was his father, and his father ends up getting killed in the first book. So Dritz is out in the Underdark, and this story, he comes across his first friend in a gnome named Belwar Disengold, and he actually gets to see what it means to be in a community of people who actually care about you, to be in a community where everyone cares about everyone else, when everyone is for the advancement of the person next to them. And it's something that is so foreign to him, but yet something that he longed for, and that he sometimes, that I think a part of him didn't even realize he longed for, in the way that he in the that he longed for, in the way that it was given to him. I mean, this story is so good. It's yes, it's fantasy, but it's got layers to it. Ari Salvatore does a great job of um introspection. He has these little parts where Dritz is kind of thinking to himself and reflecting on his life, and you can tell that he is reflecting, that he's older, and he's reflecting back to this time. Man, it's so good. I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10. You know, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. I can't help but to give it a 10 out of 10. If you're looking for fantasy that is not romantasy, if you're looking for fantasy that has action, that has depth, that has layers, man, this is the series for you. I'm not saying to go out and buy all 13 books, but maybe just check out the first 3, see how you like it. Check out Homeland, see how you like it. Salvatore is such a good author. Anyway, we're wrapping it up. Last book. The last book that I read of April 2025 is Insurrection, War of the Spider Queen, Book 2, Insurrection, by Thomas M. Reed. I have to say, I like this one a lot better than the first one. Um, and let me tell you why. So, this storyline is stemming from Ari Salvatore's creation of Menzo Berenzin, right? Um, some of the families that are in here are now in here, and now we get an inside look into the Drow society, into how Drow think, how they act. And yes, we get a little bit here, but this story is mainly about Dritz and his travels and things like that. This is strictly about um the Spider Queen and her servants, which are the dark elves, the drow. And the first book, like I said, you're almost breaking your neck to keep up with the chaos. And in this one, not so much. Not, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. So each book, there's 6 of them. Each book is written by a different author, and part of what made me hesitant to read this is, um, I like consistency. That's why I don't mind reading 13 books by one author within one storyline. And when it came to reading this or wanting to read this, part of my hesitation was, oh man, will the story be cohesive? Will it be the same? Will these writers have very different writing styles to where, yes, there's cohesion in the story, but am I going to like the way one writer writes and then dislike the way another writer writes? Would that make it more difficult for me to get through the series? And I have to be honest, that thought, I was valid in having those reservations. Not that these people aren't phenomenal writers, they definitely are, but where he captured the chaos of, the spider people of the drow, and I found that very exciting, and very inventive. I have to say I enjoyed this writing a lot more. This one was, it wasn't as chaotic. Like, I'm not reading something and then jumping right into a situation where I'm like, how did that even happen? Where did that come from? This is still not as predictable because they're keeping to the nature of the drow, but it was one where I was like, man, I'm enjoying reading this book. It's the flow of it is nice, and I can mentally keep up with it. I enjoyed the writing style of this one a lot more than I did the first one. Now, I still give this series so far probably like an 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. It's really good. Like I said previously, I am not a bad girl type of girl. I'm team good girls. You can't have an allegiance in this book. You can like characters, you can like their personality, you can like the way they kind of think and do things, but to have an allegiance to one, I mean, they're all bad. They're all in it for themselves, and they will stab you in the back, no hesitation. So it's hard for me to like have allegiance, to grasp on to the characters in that sense. Like, I'm not getting attached to them. I guess that's kind of nice in a way, but it's one that makes me go, this is a story that makes me go, this is fun to read. And that's what it is to me. It's just fun to read. All in all, I think as I go through the 6 books, it might be difficult for me to put it at the top of my list just because the authors will more than likely have different styles of writing, have different ways of doing things. And that's totally fine. But when it comes to a series of books being in the same story, I love the cohesion. I love to be able to piece it all together in one. And having it written by different writers, each book written by different writers, kind of breaks up that cohesion a little bit for me. But anyway, that is the end of my crib review, my quick reviews of the in between. I thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you like it. I hope you subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment. Tell me how the flow can be better, how I can be better as a book reviewer. I do not mind critiques and criticism, but I actually look forward to them to see where I can improve. So if you have something to say, or you just want to get involved in the discussion, please do so. I enjoy it. I love it. My next video will be probably the book is better with the Two Towers, the Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers. I hope you guys join me for that video. I'm very excited to get that one going. And I will have some shorts for you here in the future. But anyway, I want to thank you for joining me while I whine about books. Good night.